Purim is Saturday night, and even though we have a day between, which is Shabbos, actually, and I could talk about Vayikra and the notion of sacrifice, what I wanted to do was think about Purim out loud with you. Some people, excuse me, have been asking, how do you celebrate Purim in these days? And it's not that I have the answer. I don't think anyone really has the answer, but I will say this. Purim, in a certain sense, feels like this. When you pay attention to the Megillah, it's not really about Hamantashen. It's not really about the costumes. There is a kind of chaos in the air. Purim um, is a complicated holiday because when you really look at it with adult eyes, there is tremendous violence, anti-Semitism, misogyny, objectification, political intrigue, excess, greed in the Megillah and the apparent absence of God. And so, for some people, that's actually how this moment feels. How do we make sense of this world? Well, you look at the Megillah. And among the things that the Megillah offers is a phrase which becomes defining for Purim, nafochu. Everything is upside down. A day that was supposed to be a terrible one, where the Jews were to be massacred, turned into a day of simcha, of joy. But the joy, if you look closely, and this is toward the end of the Megillah, is when the king, the foolish king Achashverosh, who cannot rescind Haman, his decree, um, gives authority to Mordechai and to Esther to enact another law, which is that the Jews can defend themselves. That's the nafochu, actually, that I wanted to point to. Of all of this, I'm going to have a hard time feeling frivolous, feeling silly. And the truth is, Purim really never does it for me. It's a minor holiday on the Jewish calendar, but it's also a diaspora holiday where it is radical to think of Jewish self-determination. Because a diasporic mindset, an exilic mindset, is one where Jews are subjects or citizens at best. For most of Jewish history, that didn't come with any notion of equality. We were always praying for the welfare of the king or the government, knowing that they could turn on us on a dime, and they often did. Ashkenazi and Sephardi history, and also Yemenite history and Italian history, you name the part of the world, Jewish history has had moments that feel just like the Megillah. But what Zionism did, the birth of political Zionism, the decision by many Jews in the 1800s to go back home, to reclaim our home, was one of nafochu, of we have the ability to flip history, to flip our fate, to flip our story. And among the messages that Purim brings is a connection between something we'll do during the Torah reading and then Saturday night. So Torah reading Shabbos morning, which is also called Shabbat Zachor. On the Shabbat before Purim, we read the paragraph from the book of Exodus that talks about the ambush of the Israelites right when we cross the sea by the tribe of Amalek. And Amalek is the name for the enemy. Now, later rabbis associate Haman, the bad guy from the Purim story, with Amalek, the tribe that hurt us in our most vulnerable place, attacking us from behind. But the reading that we do is just one paragraph of that story in the Torah, and we remember. We are told, this is the phrase, "Zachor et asher asalecha Amalek." Remember what Amalek did to you when you were leaving Egypt. And at the very end of that paragraph, it says, "Zachor v'timche et zecher Amalek." Remember, al tishkach, don't forget what Amalek did for you, and Timchet zecher Amalek mitachat hashamayim, and erase the memory of Amalek from under the heavens. How is it possible, friends, to erase the memory of something and always remember it? Well, part of that is compartmentalization. As we survive traumatic things, there are times we remember it and times we don't. It can even be shocking when we don't remember. Have you had any of those moments in the last 168 days where suddenly you're watching a show or laughing with a friend or having something good to eat, and you remember that you weren't remembering October 7th? You ever have those moments? That's a small nafochu. Suddenly, I'm actually okay. God created our bodies with the ability to function despite so much, and also created us with souls that remember despite our body's ability to survive. We are called to pay attention to both. I bless us, and maybe I'm saying it to me too, with a little bit of the timcha et zecher Amalek, a little bit of the erase the badness just for a minute, and step into a little bit of joy. I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't really have a costume to wear. No costume would really hide my eyes anyway these days. How could I have a costume? Don't forget. I'm looking at Omer Shem Tov's face. Don't forget. And also, take care of ourselves. Allow some joy in. You know, one of the most dangerous parts of Purim in modern practice is when people do, and there's a rabbinic phrase for this, they drink ad lo yada, they drink until they can't tell the difference between Haman and Mordechai, the bad guy and the good guy, between Zeresh, the wife of Haman, and Esther, the hero of the story. And some people do drink to excess on Purim. And I understand sometimes the frivolity, the sweetness of just enjoying yourself. But number one, it has led to alcoholism and deep abuse of substances in the Jewish community, of which we should be very aware. And also, is it possible to drink that much that you really wouldn't be able to tell the difference between good and bad? And should anyone get to that point? The rabbis struggle with this, and I wanted to close with this because it's really important for us to pay close attention, for us to pay very close attention to what it is to take good care of ourselves, even if we find a way into the joy. Ramban, Nachmanides, suggests that the way to get to the point where you can't tell the difference between good and bad is take a rest, go to sleep. And when you're asleep, you don't really know the difference between one thing and the other. If I could combine all of these scattered pieces of wisdom, it would be this. Make sure to take good care of yourself this Purim. Of course, you're going to be remembering those who we've been calling to mind for 168 days. Of course, you will pay attention to this world. Of course, we are aware that there is a Haman that needs to be dealt with. And of course, we will learn the lesson of Esther and of Mordechai, that we need to involve ourselves in our people's fate. And there are shocking reminders of what that means. We know all that. But maybe what Fran said is something we can take into our hearts, which is to dream of good. Dream of an afochu world, a world that turns upside down again, and suddenly our trajectory is a good one. Can you imagine? And I'm asking you, I want to pause on that question. Can you imagine an afochu world where our children are home, our babies are home, our grandparents are home, our homeland is safe, Jews on campus, young Jews, older Jews, are calm again? Can you imagine that? Well, Rav Nachman of Braslav said, Im ata ma'amin she'echol lekalkel, ta'amin she'echol letaken. If you imagine that things could get worse, imagine that they can get better. Can you imagine? Can you imagine nafochu? Take this world as it is and imagine that it would flip on its head one more time and things will get better. That's not how things get better, but that's how we pray. We pray for things to get better. We are a people who know what it is to act and pray and speak and look and feel and connect so that things will get better. I bless you to have a deeper hope right now than you did half an hour ago. I bless you to have a Shabbos that reminds us that things have not always been okay, that we have to do something about that, and that part of the way that we emerge from those traumatic experiences is erasing their severity just a little bit when we have the ability to do so. When you have the capacity to face this world and focus on the good, do that. Obviously, we have the responsibility to face reality and focus on the bad when we must face it, and now is one of those times. But so too must we tend to the light within our souls. There's a beautiful song that was written by a group called Revel Sheva. I haven't played it in a long time, but we sing it every Saturday night. When Shabbos is ending, and we sing Havdalah, the ritual prayer to end Shabbat and to begin the week, we all say, La Yehudim Haita Ora v'Simcha v'Sason v'Ikar Kein Tielanu. To the Jews, meaning the Jews in Purim, in Shushan, in the entire kingdom of Achashverosh. La Yehudim Haita Ora, they had light, v'Simcha v'Sason v'Ikar, they had light, and they had joy and delight. Kein Tielanu, so too may it be for us. I mean it, friends. So too may it be for us. Let's sing a song that comes from the Megillah as we get ready for Shabbos. Then I'll put down my guitar and we'll sing Hatikva. Because a people that knows how to hope also knows how to sing. Layehudim, Layehudim, Haita Ora, Ora, V'Simcha, V'Sason V'Ikar, Layehudim, Layehudim, Haita Ora, Ora, V'Simcha, V'Sason V'Ikar, Kein Tielanu, Kein Tielanu, Ora v'Simcha, Ora v'Simcha, V'Sason V'Ikar, Hay la la la, Hay la la la, Elai Elai, Elai la 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 la, Elai la la la, Hay la 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 la, Elai Elai, Elai la 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 la. Kein Tielanu, Kein Tielanu, Ora v'Simcha, Ora v'Simcha, V'Sason v'Ikar, Layehudim, Layehudim, Haita Ora, Ora v'Simcha, V'Sason v'Ikar, Layehudim, Layehudim, Haita Ora, Ora v'Simcha, V'Sason v'Ikar. Kein Tielanu. So may it be for us, friends. More light, more joy for all of us, every single one of us. More joy, more light through you and to you. May you feel it inside of you. May somehow Purim bring you closer to your own life force, and may our people know only better days. Kol od balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia עוד לא עבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. Shabbat Shalom, friends. Purim Sameach. We will see each other on Monday. we'll have good news to share, I'm sure. Take care, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.